Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game. So, Decomp series Big Decomp Energy, where I take a look at some of the active and in-progress decomps for some of your favorite games out there. And today we're going to have a Nintendo-centric video, even though we're going to be going across 3 different generations of Nintendo hardware, from N64 to GameCube to the Wii. And honestly, decomps, recomps, PC ports, and everything in between have been a huge topic in retro gaming recently. There's been so many fun decomps that have turned into either static recomps or PC ports. You absolutely love to see it. So we're going to be talking about 4 games today that are in progress and you might be playing maybe sometime soon. And honestly, that is super exciting because it's one of those things, taking an old game and making it modern, bringing it over to PC, allowing for mod support and a ton of quality of life improvements is always going to be a fun time. Let's get into the first game that is in active decomp status, and that's going to be the original Metroid Prime. And to say that this game is absolutely legendarily good, one of the best first-person shooters in my opinion ever to grace a console, I 100% mean it. And obviously Nintendo has Metroid Prime 4 in the works for the Switch too, but until that happens we can talk about a Metroid Prime decomp. Now obviously this is based off the GameCube code, and we have seen other GameCube decomps in the past, and it's one of those things, I feel like N64 gets the most decomps that end up being PC ports or static recomp. But GameCube definitely feels like it is kind of trying to tie it up and get some good games out there. And honestly, I would love to see a world in which Metroid Prime had that PC port of any form where you had full 16:9 support, even ultra wide, you had a higher frame rate, maybe you had some fun modability to it, keyboard and mouse controls, all of the trappings of a modern FPS, except from a game that originally came out on the GameCube. And I am playing this via Dolphin, so getting a lot of those internal rendering resolution bumps in a PC port that you get in Dolphin would absolutely just make this game look that much better. And I would say, as far as all of the GameCube decomps are concerned, this one is definitely one that I am one of the most excited for. Because just imagine playing through the entirety of Metroid Prime on PC, all of the fun mods that would be out there. But honestly, I would just love to have this thing with full mouse and keyboard support in a native environment. Don't get me wrong, Dolphin's an absolutely incredible emulator and you can play this game from start to finish, but I just love to see another version. So if you move over to GitHub, you're going to see I've linked everything in the description below. If you want to take a closer look at it, you will see that this is in progress, and the last commit was 2 months ago as of the recording of this video, which definitely still qualifies for in progress in my opinion, but some of the other decomps you're going to see have had updates like the last day or so. So this is 23.41% decompiled and 16.41% fully linked. What that just means is that's the percentage of the code that has been decompiled into something that could be used for a port or a recomp. So if you take a look at the decompilation heat map here, anything in green is 100% decompiled, anything in gray hasn't been touched, and shades of blue are going to be different percentages of actual decompilation. If we take a look at the plasma beam, that's all that's going on here. All of the functions for the plasma beam within Metroid Prime have been 100% decompiled. So basically you need to hit 100% decomp status on absolutely every single thing in the game's files, link them all together, that way you have a 100% accurate decompilation of the original game, and then you can take that over to either a static recomp or a PC port. But I want to remind everyone, 100% decomp status does not lead you to a playable new version of the game, it just means it's 100% decompiled. And speaking of linking code, we're going to move over to The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker, one of my favorite Zelda games of all time. And before you think to yourself, well, there's already been remakes of this in high definition, Nintendo has those, I 100% acknowledge that. But the one thing that Nintendo doesn't allow you to do on their hardware, honestly they're very anti it in general, is going to be doing any sort of modding. Imagine a world in which you could just double click a PC executable and you could load up The Wind Waker on your PC, on your Mac or Linux machine, put a bunch of mods in, do a bunch of graphical updates, and basically just craft the experience you want to have. I would absolutely love to see that because again, this is one of my favorite games of all time in the franchise. I would say Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom are leading that charge, kind of tied, maybe Tears of the Kingdom being slightly better in my opinion, but then The Wind Waker definitely has the second place or third place spot, depending on whether or not I count Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom as one game or two. But leave me a comment down below and you tell me what is your favorite Legend of Zelda game and what would you like to see out of a recomp or PC port project of this title. Again, I just want to see a bunch of different mods come in, a bunch of different fun quality of life improvements, and again, just to be able to sit down and maybe even play this thing in ultra wide, because I use 2 ultra wide monitors for my editing, so I do a lot of ultra wide gaming, and just getting those massive vistas and something like the sailboat when you're going across the ocean, I think would absolutely look really good in this game. So if we move over to the actual Decomp project, again, everything is linked down below. You're seeing that all GameCube versions are supported, Rev 0 from the USA, from PAL and Japan, as well as the kiosk demo. And this one had an update as of yesterday of the recording of this audio. Now do be aware I make these videos ahead of time, so maybe it's a week since I did this, maybe it's 2 weeks, we just don't know, and neither do I until I feel like scheduling it. And you'll see here we're at 54.76% decompiled and 35% fully linked, and you definitely need 100% of link to have a Legend of Zelda game. And just like we showed you before on the heat map, a lot more components here, but a lot more in green, meaning that this is getting closer to the finish line. Now I have no idea when any of these things are going to be done. Sometimes it takes another month, sometimes it takes another year, could be 18 months or 24 months until this is finished. Just know that people are actually working on it. Hopefully one day we'll have a PC port of something like the Wind Waker to play. Now let's jump up a generation, moving over to the Wii, because this is obviously not a GameCube game, and we still have an N64 game to talk about at the end of the video. And even though the Wii is definitely just kind of like two GameCubes duct taped together in a power perspective, that does not mean that the Decompilation project is 100% the same. And even if both consoles are going to use a PowerPC CPU, it's one of those things that is a different generation. Just think about it like on your system. One of your GPUs could be a 3000 series NVIDIA card, and one of them could be a 5000 series NVIDIA card. There are changes between them, even if they feel like they're basically the same thing. So decompiling a game on the Wii like Kirby's Epic Yarn, there are going to be some similarities between this and a GameCube decompilation, but they are not going to be one-to-one, even if something like Dolphin supports both of those. Now it could be a 1% difference, it could be a 5% difference. I don't have the technical information on hand, but I do want you to realize that these things can vary. And as far as getting Kirby's Epic Yarn, obviously it looks incredible on something like Dolphin as I'm playing it here in high definition in widescreen. So it's one of those things, not every single game is going to bring a metric ton of improvements on the visual front. It would be nice to get a couple extra frames here, but honestly this game looks stunning, and if you released it today, I still think it would review super well as far as the visuals are concerned. But with a lot of different mods in there, you could have new levels and just more fun Kirby, and that is always a fun thing. So as I move over to the GitHub page on this one, you're going to see it's exactly the same as the rest, kind of defines what the project is and how you could build it, even though building it right now would have no reason because it isn't finished. And this was updated as of 17 hours ago of the recording of this voiceover, so this one definitely is very active, even if it is only hit 1.44% with 0.8% fully linked. This is a project that is just getting its start, and it's kind of fun to talk about projects that are getting close to 100%, projects that are kind of hovering in the 50% range, and projects that are just kicking off. Because trust me, in the next 1, 2, even 5 years, Decomps, Recomps, and PC Ports are absolutely going to be a hot thing in retro gaming. It's kind of like the new golden era of emulation, except it's not emulation whatsoever. It's decompiling the game's code into something that you can actually understand and then port or recompile to a different platform. And I think by the time maybe 2035 or so rolls around, you're going to see hundreds upon hundreds of decomp projects with hundreds upon hundreds of games out there that you can play on your PC that are going to be so much better than their original version. And even if Kirby's Epic Yarn really doesn't have far to go on the visuals, because they still look absolutely 10 out of 10 in my opinion, it is still a recomp that I would love to have, or a PC port that I would love to have. Please leave me a comment down below and you tell me, what is your dream PC port or static recomp based upon any Nintendo game? I would be curious. Now let's move over to Mario Strikers here, another amazing game, even if it is soccer or football, a sport that I really don't like in real life. I always love to say football for you Europeans, that way I know I've covered all my bases. Otherwise there's a lot of comments saying it's called football, even though I think that is funny. This is definitely a fun party game, maybe not the best Nintendo game on the system, but it is still a good time, and one that you can definitely sit down and enjoy and just basically kind of play around with and have fun. And this again, I would love to see something like a decomp done, so maybe that recomp or PC port could have full net play that was easy to use on a Windows PC. Imagine just dialing into some sort of server, sitting down, and actually just kind of having fun with your friends or strangers online, playing something like Mario Strikers on your PC. That would be great. I could even see more players being modded in from different Nintendo properties, because I would say the roster in this game may be a little thin, and there's new characters in the Nintendo universe since this game came out that would be a lot of fun to play. This might not be everyone's #1 choice for something like a GameCube recomp, but I think it is a lot of fun and something that people would really enjoy having. So let's move over to the GitHub project for this one as well, so we can kind of go over the overall status and progress. And it is fun to read these GitHub pages. If you're bored and you have some time, just kind of go through and understand how they work and what the project is trying to achieve. You'll see here it was 15 hours ago as of the last update, even newer than something like Kirby's Epic Yarn. So let's go over to the percentage and see how we're doing here. You're going to see it's 22.49% decompiled and 14.44% fully linked. And on the heat map, you're going to see there is still a big sea of actual gray here, areas that haven't really been touched whatsoever. So all of the games in this video have different levels of progress, and that does not mean that the ones with more percentage are going to finish first. It just means they're more of the head of the game at this point in time. And I know I said I was going to feature an N64 game, but I actually cut that out for a part 2 because I was thinking of some other decomps that are in active development that I thought would be fun for a part 2 in this one. Leave me a comment down below and you tell me again, if you could snap your fingers, what one Nintendo game would get just a PC port or a static recomp right now, and outside of Nintendo, what other game would you pick? It's always fun to hear you guys' responses. I love seeing them down in the comments below. Hopefully we'll be playing these soon, but I'm done. Go play some soccer and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.